Hello, you're watching Hornbill TV's Prime Time, and now the headlines. Air Marshal A.K. Bharti said on Monday that the recent battle with Pakistan was a different kind of warfare and was bound to happen, and continued that if another war is fought, that would be completely different from the recent one. DGMO Lieutenant General Rajiv Ghai on Monday said that in the last few years, the character of terrorist activities have changed and now innocent civilians are being attacked. In a significant escalation of hostilities, Kiev reported about 100 drones launched by Russian forces into Ukraine on the intervening night of May to 10th to 11th. The temporary closure of 32 airports across northern and western India for civil aircraft operations amid India-Pakistan tensions has been lifted with immediate effect, the Airport Authority of India stated on Monday. And now the news in detail. Air Marshal A.K. Bharti said on Monday that the recent battle with Pakistan was a different kind of warfare and was bound to happen. He, however, said if another war is fought, that would be completely different from the recent one. He said it was a cat and mouse game and India needs to be ahead of the cruise to beat the adversary.
कल कहा था कि इस लड़ाई के डिटेल्स अभी हम शेयर नहीं कर सकते हैं क्योंकि इसमें काफ़ी कुछ ऑपरेशनल डिटेल्स होंगे, कितने जहाज थे दोनों तरफ से, किस तरह की लड़ाई हुई. These are questions of technical details which we may not be able to share firstly, and which we may not be able to share to explain to you the way it needs to be explained. Suffice to say कि yes, ये एक दूसरी तरह का वॉरफेयर था एंड इट इज बाउंड टू हैपन. हम लोग पिछली लड़ाई, अगली जो कभी भी लड़ाई होगी, भगवान करे ना हो, लेकिन अभी यदि हुई तो ये पिछली लड़ाई की तरह नहीं होगी. हर एक लड़ाई जो है अलग तरीके से लड़ी जाती है और टेक्नोलॉजिकल एडवांसमेंट्स हो रहे हैं. हम भी उस एडवांसमेंट्स के हिस्सा हैं, हमारे एडवर्सरीज भी हिस्सा हैं. सो इट इज अ कैट एंड माउस गेम एंड यू हैव टू बी अहेड ऑफ द कर्व टू बीट योर एडवर्सरी. So that is what is going to happen. So if you ask, was this different? Was this engagement different? Definitely it was different. And a lot of new aspects have come out, but we were prepared for it, we were trained for it, and we were equipped for it. That is...
Earlier, Director General Naval Operations Vice Admiral A.N. Pramod stated that the Indian Navy is maintaining continuous surveillance to degrade or neutralize threats as they emerge. Addressing a joint press conference on Operation Synindur, Vice Admiral Pramod said that India has an effective layered fleet air defense mechanism that caters to all threats. Vice Admiral Pramod said that the Indian Navy was at an advantage during Operation Synindur, and the presence of carrier battle group ensured that the adversary did not get any chance to come close. He said the Indian Navy operates as a composite naval force that can address air, surface and subsurface threats. Vice Admiral Pramod said Indian Navy's presence compelled the Pakistani air operations to remain bottled up, denying any opportunity to be a threat in the maritime space.
Multiple sensors and inputs, we are maintaining continuous surveillance to degrade or neutralize threats as they emerge or manifest, to ensure targeting at extended ranges. All these are conducted under the umbrella of a comprehensive and effective layered fleet air defense mechanism that caters for all threats, be it drones or high-speed missiles or aircraft, both fighters as well as surveillance aircraft. The fleet operates as a composite force, maintaining a surveillance bubble at extended ranges using advanced radars. Any aerial target that attempts to penetrate this bubble is detected and identified using various techniques and technologies, affording quick and clear distinction between commercial, neutral, and hostile aircraft or flying objects at ranges in excess of the anticipated attack.
The temporary closure of 32 airports across northern and western India for civil aircraft operations amid India-Pakistan tensions has been lifted with immediate effect, the Airport Authority of India stated on Monday. In a press release, the AAI stated that the airport's temporary closure was initially set to last until 5:29 hours on May 15, but will now be available for civil aircraft operations. Earlier, the temporary airport closure was due to the operational reasons amid heightened tensions between India and Pakistan following Operation Synindur. On May 10th, the Airports Authority of India and relevant aviation authorities issued a series of notices to airmen announcing the closure of 32 airports across northern and western India for all civil flight operations. The list of the 32 airports include Adhampur, Ambala, Amritsar, Awantipur, Bhatinda, Bhuj, Bikaner, Chandigarh, Halwara, Hindan, Jaisalmer, Jammu, Jamnagar, Jodhpur, Kandla, Kangra, Keshod, Kishangarh, Kullu Manali, Leh, Ludhiana, Mundra, Nalia, Pathankot, Patiala, Porbandar, Rajkot, Sarsawa, Shimla, Srinagar, Thois and Uttarlai. The Airports Authority of India earlier extended the temporary closure of 25 segments of air traffic services routes within the Delhi and Mumbai flight information regions due to operational reasons. The reopening comes as a peaceful night was reported along the line of control on May 11th and May 12th, marking the first calm night in days after intense Pakistan retaliation to Operation Synindur. DGMO Lieutenant General Rajiv Ghai on Monday said that in the last few years, the character of terrorist activities have changed and now innocent civilians are being attacked. Addressing media persons in New Delhi, Ghai also said Pakistan targeting India's airfields and logistics is way too tough.
मैंने आपको कल बताया था कि पिछले कुछ सालों में आतंक की गतिविधियों का कैरेक्टर जो है उसमें कुछ बदलाव आ रहा था। अब हमारी मिलिट्री के साथ साथ मासूम सिविलियंस जो कि अपना बचाव करने में विफल थे, उन पर भी हमले हो रहे थे। 2024 में जम्मू सेक्टर में शिवखोरी मंदिर को जाते हुए यात्री और इस साल अप्रैल में पहलगाम में मासूम पर्यटक इस खतरनाक ट्रेंड के विशेष उदाहरण हैं। पहलगाम तक पाप का ये घड़ा भर चुका था। उसके बाद जो हुआ उसके बारे में हम कल विस्तार में बातचीत कर चुके हैं। एयरफील्ड्स या लॉजिस्टिक इंस्टॉलेशंस को टारगेट कर पाए। ये जो डायग्राम आप अपने सामने देख रहे हैं, ये मुझे एक इंसिडेंट की याद दिला रहा है और मैं आपको इस उदाहरण के ज़रिए से एक ये एस्पेक्ट हाईलाइट करना चाहता हूँ। जब मैं स्कूल में था तो तकरीबन मेरे ख्याल से ये 70 का दशक था और उस समय इंग्लैंड और ऑस्ट्रेलिया के बीच में, आज शायद क्रिकेट की बात भी करनी चाहिए क्योंकि मैं देख रहा था कि विराट कोहली ने टेस्ट क्रिकेट से रिटायरमेंट ले ली। कई भारतीयों की तरह वो मेरे भी फेवरेट क्रिकेटर हैं। तो 70 के दशक में ऑस्ट्रेलिया और इंग्लैंड की फेमस एशेज सीरीज चल रही थी और उस समय ऑस्ट्रेलिया के दो बहुत तेज गेंदबाज जो कि क्रिकेट हिस्ट्री में बड़ा उनका नाम है, जेफ थॉमसन और डेनिस लिली, उन्होंने अंग्रेजी बैट्समैन और उनकी बैटिंग लाइनअप को तहस नहस कर दिया था। और ऑस्ट्रेलियंस ने उस समय एक कहावत निकाली थी, दैट फ्रॉम एशेज टू एशेज एंड फ्रॉम डस्ट टू डस्ट, इफ थॉमो डोंट गेट हियर देन लिली श्योरली मस्ट। और अगर आप इस लेयर को देखें तो आप समझ जाएंगे कि मैं आपको क्या बताने की कोशिश कर रहा हूं। तो अगर आप सारे सिस्टम्स को पार कर भी गए तो आपको फिर भी एयरफील्ड या लॉजिस्टिक इंस्टॉलेशन या जो भी चीज़ को आप टारगेट कर रहे हैं उसमें पहुंचने से पहले कोई ना कोई इस लेयर्ड ग्रिड का सिस्टम जरूर गिरा देगा.
We'll be right back after a short break, so stay tuned for more news.
Beautiful Home Studio Atrio Guwahati from Asian Paints is a space that kindles a connection, making every corner of your home come alive. Step inside to experience the aesthetics and the unparalleled comfort provided our home decor collection. It is not a studio, but a million possibilities that let you reimagine your home in your way.
পূজা আপনি পৰা কোৱা নিচিনা মই ডাবল 45 নিমখ লৈছে হইলেবি ইটো লাগা ৰংটো হলপ আলাক আছে আৰু কালা কালা ছোট পাথৰ খান নিচিনা বি আছে ইটো তো কি মিলাৱত লাগা আছে না বিয়া হৈছে ইটো পৰা আমি খান লাগাওকে বিয়া কৰিলে মই তো ইটো নিমখ তো ফেলাই দিবলে ভাবি আছে ও লক্ষ্মী আপনি চিন্তা না কৰিবি ইটো ছোট পাথৰ খান নহয় নিমখটা আইৰন থাকে নিমিতে হলপ ৰং আলাক হৈ যায় আৰু সাবুলে বি কালা হয় ইটো পৰা আমি খান লাগা খুনকে তাকত দে ইটো নিমখটো বিয়া হোৱা নাই আৰু মিলাৱট বি নহয় ইটো নিমখটো খাবলে একদম সেফ আছে আৰু গাও নিমিতে বেছি ভাল আছে নিমখ কিনিয়া সমেতে হদাই পেকেটটো সিলড আৰু +F লাগা নিশান থাকে হি লবি নিমখটো হদাই ঠাণ্ডা হাৱা না যাবলে দাবা আৰু সান লগত দূৰ ৰাখিবি ইটো কৰিলে ডাবল 45 নিমখটো বিয়া না হ'ব আৰু ইয়াত ৰাখিবি নিমখটো এক্সপায়াৰি ডেট না হোৱা আগতে খাই লবি ইটো পৰা খানা লাগা সোৱাদটো আলাগ কৰি দিব ডাবল 45 নিমখটো হদাই চলা আয়োডিন নিমখ নিচিনাহি আছে তাই লাগা সোৱাদ চলা আৰু পাকাটো ইকো আলাগ নহয় একটা কথা ধ্যান ৰাখিবি নিমখটো খানা পুৰা নাপাকে আগতে ঢালি লবি ইটো কৰিলে পুৰা নিউট্ৰিশনটো গাওতে পাব আৰু নিমখ ঢালিবলৈ কাৰণে একটা ছোট আৰু সাপা ফুড গ্ৰেড প্লাষ্টিক স্পুন হি চলাবি হোসা আছে মই ইটো কথা খান মন্দে ৰাখিব পূজা আমি খান ডাবল 45 নিমখটো 1 সাল ওপৰ চলাই আছে আৰু আজি তাক ইকো প্ৰবলেম নাই ডিএফএস খাবি মিঠা বি আছে হেলদি বি আছে
Welcome back. In a significant escalation of hostilities, Kyiv reported over 100 drones launched by Russian forces into Ukraine on the intervening night of May 10th to 11th. This came shortly after the expiration of a self-imposed Russian ceasefire for 72 hours. Ever since the ceasefire came into effect, Kyiv hadn't reported any drone or other attacks since Thursday, but it did accuse Russian forces of multiple violations, and the Kremlin too made allegations of Ukraine of not observing the ceasefire. The attacks marked the most substantial aerial offensive by Russian forces since the beginning of the invasion over 3 years ago. The attacks came just after the visit by multiple European leaders to Ukraine, including the French President Emmanuel Macron and British PM Keir Starmer. The visit was to show solidarity with Kyiv in the fight of recent Russian aggression, which also proposed a 30-day ceasefire backed by the US. Russian President Vladimir Putin, ignoring the European proposal, instead has offered direct talks with Kyiv later this month. Speaking in the early hours of Sunday at the Kremlin, Putin proposed talks with Kyiv in Istanbul on May 15th. Air Marshal A.K. Bharti, during the press briefing by the DGMOs of all 3 services on Operation Synindur, said it was a pity that the Pakistani military chose to intervene and that for terrorists, and hence India chose to respond. He also said India's battle-proven systems stood the test of time and take them head-on. Air Marshal A.K. Bharti also presented the composite picture of targets engaged by the Indian Air Force during Operation Synindur.
That our fight was with terrorists and their support infrastructure and not with Pakistan military. However, it is a pity that the Pakistan military chose to intervene and bat for the terrorist, which compelled us to respond, which accords us the net-centric operational capability which is vital to modern days war fighting. While much has been said and written about the newer systems, I would like to place on record the performance and efficacy demonstrated by even the older battle-proven AD systems like the Pechora, the Osa AK and the LLAD guns in countering the Pakistani threat vectors in the current operations. They were all modern generations, but these battle-proven systems stood the test of time and took them on head-on. Another highlight has been the stellar performance of the indigenous air defense weapon system like the Akash system. Here, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to mention that putting together and operationalization of this potent AD environment has been possible over the last decade due to unwavering budgetary and policy support provided by the Government of India in acquiring state-of-the-art equipment and weapon systems. Yesterday, I had already shared some details about the targets engaged by the Indian Air Force. The composite picture of the Indian Air Force targeting so far is now shown on the screen. As you can see, we have targeted the length and breadth of the adversary. I'm sure most of you would have already seen the effect of these strikes on ground, courtesy the large number of videos and photographs being circulated in the media. A few representative examples from the open source are now being shown to you on the screen. In fact, two of them. This is the strike on the Noor Khan Air Base. And you can see the effect. I'm sure most of you have seen the video. I have also picked it up from your sources only. And this is the aftermath of our strike at Rahim Khan Air Base. You can see the massive crater that it has left on its runway.
We'll be right back after another break, so stay tuned for more news.
Every day goes through 136 quality checks, giving you a thick and tasty, perfect cup of tea. No wonder Nestle Every Day is your #1 choice.
State Institute of Hotel Management Dimapur academic year 2025-26 nimite admission shuru hoise. SIHM Dimapur offer kuri ase hospitality aro hotel administration de 3 saal laga bachelor's degree kundu NCHMCT logot affiliated ase aro degree certificate to Jawaharlal Nehru University New Delhi bra awards koribo. Food production aro food and beverage service laga 1.5 year diploma program bi offer kuri ase SIHM Dimapur. SIHM Dimapur laga mission do quality education aro personal growth ase. Institute laga dedicated faculty, experienced mentors aro hands-on learning environments pra students can get training di ase. Itu igla nohoi yate career ke age loi jabole nimite state of the art infrastructure, top package, thagalaga bishi bhal placement, maiki mota nimite alag hostels aro strong industry partnerships bi di ase. Apni luxury resort manage kurubole nohilbi cruise line de chef hobole sapna ase bole SIHM Dimapur apni ke success kurubole launch pad ase. To narukhi ina juldi kuribi admission khola ase. Aro bi jankari lobole call kuribi 9233895656 9863177951 day. Visit www.sihmdimapur.com.
Welcome back. 2 days after India and Pakistan reached an understanding to cease hostilities along the border, life in Jammu and Kashmir is gradually returning to normal. Chief Minister Omar Abdullah on Monday visited a government hospital in Poonch to meet civilians injured in the recent cross-border shelling. Following his hospital visit, Abdullah also visited the families of civilians who lost their lives in the firing. Among them was the family of Amrik Singh, who died in the shelling incident. He also paid a visit to the home of Amarjit Singh, another civilian casualty of the recent hostilities.
जो 3-4 दिन जम्मू कश्मीर में एक तरफ से देखा जाए तो जंग का ही माहौल बना हुआ था, उसमें सबसे ज्यादा अगर कोई इलाका पार की शेलिंग और बमबारी के लपेट में आया वो पुंछ, और बहुत अरसे के बाद पहली मर्तबा पुंछ शहर के बीचों बीच शेल गिरे, बमबारी हुई। इसमें हमारी 13 कीमती जानें जो हैं वो हमने गंवाई। आज यहाँ पे आने का मेरा मकसद, पहले तो मैंने कोशिश की कि उन घरों में कम से कम मैं पहुँचूँ जहाँ ये सबसे बड़ा सामया पेश आया। उसके बाद यहाँ की सिविल सोसाइटी से मेरी मुलाकात हुई और मैंने पुंछ के लोगों को मुबारक किया जो इस मुश्किल दौर में उन्होंने हिंदू मुस्लिम सिख इत्तेहाद और भाईचारे का जो माहौल है उसको कायम और दायम रखा। अब आगे जाके दोबारा अगर इस तरह के हालात बने तो इतना जानी नुकसान ना हो, उसके लिए कुछ मशवरे, कुछ सुझाव सिविल सोसाइटी की तरफ से हमें मिले हैं और उन पे हम अमल जो है करना शुरू करेंगे।
उमर साहब, इस बार पाकिस्तान की शेलिंग
The continuation of Indo-Pakistan conflict is in the interest of China, opined Foreign Affairs expert Robinder Sachdev on Monday. He stated that China has enough influence on Pakistan intelligence and military apparatus, and that on the instigation of China, some of these officials may have continued to launch minor attacks on India in order to spoil the understanding. He said it would not have benefited the Ghazis, die-hard jihadis and China if the conflict stopped. The more the conflict prolongs, the more it will draw in India.
China has enough or some influence amongst the Pakistani intelligence and military apparatus, and on the instigation of China, some of these officials may have also continued to launch, minor attacks on India to keep in order to maybe even spoil the understanding, because it is not in their interest. It is not in the interest of the Ghazis and the die-hard jihadis that this war should stop. It is also in the interest, and it benefits China if the Pakistan-India conflict continues, because the more it continues, the more it draws in India. So there could be some such elements who would have had continued some sporadic incidents, but overall, with time, I think in the last 24 hours or 36 hours, there is now a pause in any incidents across the border. No, certainly, these are the spoils, or you can say the treasures of war. Once we get these, wreckages or pieces that we recover, we can get to reverse engineer and very well understand the Chinese technology which goes into the weapons that had been used by the Pakistanis. Similarly, the Turkish Songar drones and other drones. So I would think, and every right-thinking person would think, that this is a treasure trove of information. Now we can re-engineer and find out better as to what electronics, jammers, and what all engineering is there in the Chinese drones or missiles which Pakistan had used. And in fact, this would be helpful to us in a situation in future with China. So this is gold for us.
Commenting on the Indian military showing debris of a likely PL-15 air-to-air missile, which is of Chinese origin and was used by Pakistan during the attack on India, including some Turkish-made ammunition, Sachdev said that these were war treasures. The wreckages could be studied and reverse engineering could be done.
The spoils, or you can say the treasures of war, once we get these wreckages or pieces that we recover, we can get to reverse engineer and very well understand the Chinese technology which goes into the weapons that had been used by the Pakistanis. Similarly, the Turkish Songar drones and other drones. So I would think, and every right-thinking person would think, that this is a treasure trove of information. Now we can re-engineer and find out better as to what electronics, jammers, and what all engineering is there in the Chinese drones or missiles which Pakistan had used. And in fact, this would be helpful to us in a situation in future with China. So this is gold for us.
And that was all for this hour's bulletin. For more news and updates, stay tuned to Hornbill TV. Goodbye.
The Jawaharlal Nehru National Solar Mission, or